Hello and welcome to the channel Ruckosaurus Rex, where we review and discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. Continuing our late to the party series of Beasts of the Mesozoic, the Ceratopsian series, we have before us here Triceratops hardus, the subadult version. So this is the youngster of the series. There is a full-grown adult Triceratops, which I don't have yet, but trust and believe it will come, especially as I eagerly anticipate the arrival of the Beast of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex, the 1/18th scale. So that's a big sucker. So it's going to need its primary adversary to go up against. And that's the other thing that I'm enjoying. A lot of these ceratopsians, wherever they were, whatever time they lived, there was always a tyrannosaur in the neighborhood. And Beast of the Mesozoic has done its best to bring us those tyrannosaurs. So there are plenty of tyrannosaur ceratopsian matchups in store for us in the future. But enough about that. Let's talk about what we have here. You see the Triceratops, the subadult, the trike as it were, in the packaging. You see the nice artwork there on the sleeve, like we always get with BotM. Turn to the side, you see that we have the logo, and of course the avatar Triceratops. Strangely enough, 1/18th scale dinosaur action series. Turn to the back, you see all of the ceratopsians that are in this particular series. This is series number 1, and that's the checklist that's behind this strip. You have on the strip there, the sleeve, Triceratops hardus. It's number 3, which you can see right there. Triceratops stands for a 3-horned face. It has a collectible card inside, which will have that same artwork there. A little bio or some info on Triceratops. The length of a Triceratops was up to 9 meters or 29.5 feet long. Just rounded off to 30. Location, Hell Creek Formation in Montana, USA. The time period was the late Cretaceous, 68 million years ago, one of the last dinosaurs. One of the best known dinosaurs of all time, Triceratops was among the largest ceratopsians. Often viewed as defensive weapons, its frill and horns are now more associated with species identification, courtship, and display. But I'm quite sure when it lowered its head, it would mean big business for any Tyrannosaurus Rex that was even thinking about snacking on one. Top of the sleeve, you have more info, 20 points of articulation with this particular figure, realistic movement and detail, and the profile card is included. Once again, it's number 3 in the line. So there we go. Without further ado, we're going to get our subadult trike out of the packaging. All of the Beasts of the Mesozoic figures come with a backdrop, different backdrops, different figures, and yeah, I've taken to showing you guys what the different backdrops look like. And here we have a tree line, wooded tree line, and it looks like it's overlooking a marsh or a swamp, and looks pretty nice. So here we have our subadult Triceratops on a rotating platter. You get to see what all the nice paint apps are on this guy, and it's taking its cues from a lace monitor lizard. That's where the color scheme comes from, of course. Creative Beast Studios, they take liberties, so it's not exact, but that's where the basic inspiration comes from. So anyhow, while our subadult trike is getting dizzy, could you guys do me a favor and like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already? It would be greatly appreciated. So while you guys are doing that, what I will do is get the Triceratops off of the platter, and we'll take a closer look. Here's the included card showing that same artwork that we saw on the sleeve and on the back, and of course on the rear, inside the packaging, we have on the card, it'll be the information that we also read off, but they also give you some instructions on heating up the tail if your tail happens to be difficult to attach. So that can happen sometimes. I didn't have to go through that with our subadult Triceratops, so lucky me. Now that we have our trike off of the rotating stand, the first thing we will do is take a measurement, and what we have from the beak to the tip of the tail, we're talking about 10.5 inches. So there's a 1/18 scale figure. So with those calculations at 1/18 scale, this trike is about 15, almost 16 feet long, like 15, I'd say 15.75 feet long. To me, that's more of a juvenile than a subadult. I would think a subadult would be about 20, 22 feet long, you know, maybe 23 feet long, something like that. These things did grow to almost 30 feet. So they call it a subadult, but I think this is more of a juvenile. You know, it's bigger than a or maybe, like an adolescent. So but we're mincing with words here. Either way, the figure looks nice, and it's 10.5 inches. So still a sizable creature. Think about it. It's classified as a subadult. I'm calling it something younger, and yet and still it's the same size as a lot of ceratopsians grew their max sizes to. Taking a closer look at our trike here, especially that head sculpt, the skull. As always with ceratopsians, the highlight of the figure of the animal will always be the skull, the frill, the horns, whatever, and very impressive even on this subadult. Turning it around so you can see it's looking very nice. We've got let's start off with the eyes. The eyes are painted in a red with yellow surrounding the black pupil there, so that's pretty cool. The beak, you see right up in there, it's very dark, like a dark brown, but you've got texture right there, different color there. As you go up, it's still that same dark brown. The horns, the eyebrow horns, the brow horns, they you see on at the base, they start with a light brown, like dark brown, but there's patches of light brown in there. And above the eyes, you've got those yellows, and below the eyes, going along the cheek, we've got those yellows too, laced over the dark brown. And then of course the beak, we've got some more of that texture and the light color, like a beige color. Going closer to the mouth, it's a light brown. And underneath, you can see that it gets darker, and there's like a wash over there, so pretty nice. In the mouth, I can open it some. You can see that it's painted in there too. It's got a nice wet look. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well it conveys on camera, but there's a nice wet look in the mouth there. Looking at the front of the frill and the lower our trike's head some, and you could see the nice design there, looking pretty good. Of course, you're gonna see it repeated on both sides there. Then pointing the head forward, turning it back so you can see back of the frill. Not much going on there. It is a washed, like that beige color with a dark dry brush going over it to give it some detail there. Going down the neck, dark brown, and you got the blue spots there that turn into like striping, and it's dark. The top half of the body, top portion of the body is dark, and it goes down into stripes, and then in between the stripes, sporadically, you've got like a beige, and then there's a wash within the scalation there, filling those in so it brings the scales out. Going down the legs, more of that texture there. You can see the scales, and it turns dark, getting below, we'll call it the elbow, down to the forelimb there, gets darker, and then the toes painted nice and black there. Underbelly, light as you might expect. Rear legs, you've got more of that. It starts off dark at the top. As it goes down, you get some of those blues, and then it merges into that tan, that beige. And then the hind leg, you've got a combination of the dark brown and with a nice long strip of that beige color going down. And you have more. Once again, the front of the leg there is dark, whereas the rear is that tannish color. Once again, the toes painted nicely, if you guys can see that. I know I was getting in the light there, my apologies for that. Going down, as you see down the back, it's like the same both sides. Going down to the tail, the Triceratops had a relatively shorter tail than some other ceratopsians. You see that it goes from dark to light to dark, striping all the way down to the very tip. Looking at the top there, you've got the osteoderms and everything like that, pretty nice. And then on the other side, we've got more or less more of the same. Pretty cool. Very nice there. And then, of course, back up to the skull. The subadult Triceratops' articulation, the box claims that it has 20 points. So what we have here, definitely starting at the mouth, which we already saw, it can open its mouth. It does have problems closing. Some ceratopsians in this line, they do have issues with closing the mouths. They won't close all the way. So it'll open up and then try to force itself back open. But it can open its mouth that wide, so that's pretty cool. You've got some where the head connects to the neck. It can go left and right, a little up and down. Mine's just kind of tight, so but it can rotate some left and right. Then with the neck, that's where you get some good articulation there. The neck, you can get it to move left and right, up and down. So that's pretty cool. The body, it can move up and down and left and right, limited, but it can do so. The forelimbs can splay out. It can rotate 360. You've got articulation there at that elbow, and then you have, of course, at the foot. It can go in and out. It can spin around, and it can pivot. As far as the hind legs, it can bevel out just a little bit, as you can see right there. It can bevel out just a little bit, and then you do get some articulation there at the knee, and then at that secondary joint you get articulation there. And of course with the foot, rotates, goes down and up, and you do get pivot. Tail goes down, goes up, left, right, and if you wanted to, which I don't know why, but you could spin it. So there you have the articulation. Turn the head some. There it is. Utilizing the backdrop that came with the figure, I've got our subadult Triceratops in a water drinking pose. That's where the ability to spread those forelimbs and then bend at the elbows out comes in real handy, along with pointing the neck down. Here's our trike doing the rear up. Here's the trike attempting to run away. He got surprised from the rear, so that fight or flight instinct kicks in. And just another basic pose, just because I enjoy posing these figures. And comparing side to side to side, we've got our subadult Triceratops next to the previously reviewed Cosmoceratops, and our very first review of the Beasts of the Mesozoic line, we've got our Ionosaurus. And keep in mind that both the Ionosaurus and the Cosmoceratops, those are full-grown adult animals. And the Triceratops here, which is subadult, is still bigger. And I've got our Centrosaurus here so I can explain what I mean by I'm thinking that this Triceratops is more of a juvenile than a subadult. Centrosaurs grew to about 20 feet long. They're considered large ceratopsians. And this particular one, even though it's said to be scaled at 118, it's actually oversized. And if you do the measurements, this represents like a 23-foot long animal. But it's here to make a point. If I think a subadult Triceratops would be closer to the Centrosaur's size there as a subadult, considering that even though this Centrosaurus is oversized at 23 feet, Triceratops grew to almost 30 feet. So I think you get what I'm saying here. So, and also the scary thing is this Centrosaurus, which is oversized, still doesn't come close to the size of a Triceratops. So in conclusion, the beast of the Mesozoic Triceratops subadult is a very nice figure. The colors are just fantastic. I think once again the skull, the frill, the horns. As always with ceratopsians, that's what makes the animal for sure. I do think that, and once again, this is just my opinion, and they vary. That and it's also, you know, we could just be mincing words here. I understand that, I get that, but I think that this should have been classified as a juvenile and not a subadult, because a subadult should be, you know, subadults are closest to being adult. A subadult is like if we were talking about humans, would be 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, most humans are the size they're going to be. You know, at least in terms of their height and stuff like that. They may get a little bit bigger, beefier as they get a little bit older, but you're mostly what you're going to be by that point. And this Triceratops is definitely smaller than what I think a subadult would be. But once again, that could just be me mincing words. And yeah, it is what it is. Anyhow, this is a beautiful figure, and I can't wait till I get its mommy, the full-grown Triceratops, and that'll make for a great diorama when I get the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'll be having it pose as though it's trying to get at the juvenile, and it's being defended by the mama, by Big Mama. So yeah, that's how it goes down right there. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. Please like this video. Please share this video, and if you be so inclined, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified when I upload another video, smash the bell, and you will be so notified. Please leave your comments, your questions, your concerns. What do you think about my opinion regarding the size of this subadult model of Triceratops? Let me know. Like I said, opinions vary. We all have them. So, and I'd love to hear yours. Anyhow, that'll do it for this review. And thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.